Hey guys, I'm just gonna explain myself a bit since this is the first video that I'm doing here. Basically the idea is I'm gonna read um some books and just make it kind of a parody. Hopefully I'm not gonna have any copywriting issues since I'm gonna change a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm starting with the Narnia books. Like I've never read them. I didn't have the type of parents that would read to me at night, at least not when I would remember, like at that age. Um, anyway, I'm not going to give you my life sob story about how my parents didn't read to me. Anyway, I've never read the Narnia books, and I thought it'd be really interesting to read them. And I've got the whenever I read a book, I always change the story in my head. I always give the characters a little bit more more funny twists to them. And anyway, I had to do this video twice now. This is the third attempt because my computer, it's a new computer. I am still getting used to it, and in the middle of reading it last time, it decided to restart. Anyway, um, this book is really funny uh from how far I've read it. The first chapter, um, the characters in it are just really funny. The writing's a bit weird. So I'm gonna skip some of the writing time to time. I'm gonna change quite a lot. And I think I already said this. Like I'll probably change characters' names if they're annoying. Like even like if their name's like da da da, then I'm probably gonna just be like, you know what? Let's call him Toby. Toby's a cool guy. Um, so hopefully I'll remember it, and I'll do some art over this video. So and if there's like a joke, I'll put some art over it to go with it. Anyway, let's get started. This is about all the books of Narnia. If this goes well, I might end up reading them all with you guys. I might only do this if this gets very bad, like dislikes and stuff, or if I get in trouble for it. Anyway, this book is really funny. You're gonna have to be good with humor. Like this is children, and there's a you'll see what I mean. Like, just imagine the children a bit older than they are. It's a bit pedo-ish otherwise. You'll see why. You'll see why at the end of this chapter. Anyway, let's begin. The Chronicles of Narnia, first book, The Magician's Nephew. Chapter 1, The Wrong Door. Oh yeah, this narrator is a bitch, by the way. This is a story about something that happened a long time ago, when your grandfather was young. It was a very important story, because it shows how all the comings and goings between our world and the land of Narnia first began. In those days, Sherlock Holmes was still living on Baker Street, and the Babelish were still looking for treasure in the Lewis Road. I can't read long names, and that bit's not very important, so I'm not going to give it a special name because it's just not important. In those days, if you were a boy, you had to wear a stiff ikong collar, which I have no idea what a stiff ikong. You know, you'll probably some of you smart guys out there will probably know, but I'm imagining it as a kind of choker thing, like just a weird thing that kids had to wear back in those days. Especially this book being the way it is, it's a bit, like I said, a bit a bit pedo-ish with its children. And the schools were usually nastier back then because they used to beat them. But the meals were nice. You know, it was okay that they beat them because the meals were nicer. And for the sweets, oh my god, the sweets. I won't tell you how cheap they were, because it would only make your mouth water in vain. Remember that thing about the narrative being a bitch? And in those days, if you lived in London, you would know a girl called Polly, a Polly Plumber, because she was a bitch. She was definitely a bitch. You'll see. She lived in one of those long rows of houses, which were all joined together. One morning she went out in the back garden when a boy stumbled up from the garden next door and put his face over the wall, being a little peeking Tom. Polly was very surprised because up until now there had never been any children in that house, but only Mr. Kettledrum. That's not his name, by the way. It's Kettley or something. I don't know. I'm calling him Mr. Kettledrum though, and Mrs. Kettledrum, a brother and sister, an old bachelor, and a maid living together. She thought they were freaks. Oh, a bachelor and a maid. It does kind of sound a bit freaky. So she looked up, full of curiosity. The face of a strange boy was very grubby, and she turned her nose up at him. He could hardly have been grubbier if he had first rubbed his hand in the earth, and then had a good cry, and then dried his face with the earth. As a matter of fact, this was very nearly what he had been doing. This book is just so weird. He was basically saying he was crying and then rubbing his face in the dirt when he was crying. This boy is a freak, and this is why Polly likes him so much, because she's a bitch, he's a freak. They kind of get along. Oh, and they both can't say hello. Instead of a E, they're using a U. So, oh, here's their voices. Hello, said Polly. Hello, said the boy. What's your name? Polly, said Polly. What's yours? Diggory, said the boy. I say, that's a funny name, said Polly. It isn't half as funny as Polly, said the boy. Yes, it is, said Polly. No, it isn't, said Diggory. At any rate, I do wash my face. Oh, burn, said Polly. Which is what you need to do, especially after... And then she stopped. She had been going to say, after you've been blubbering, you moron. But she thought that wouldn't be polite. She'll be polite for now. All right, I have then, said Diggory, in a much louder voice, like a boy who was so miserable he didn't care who knew he'd been crying. And so would you, he went on, if you lived in your country house and had a pony. God, I miss my pony. They took his pony. And a river at the bottom of your garden. And they took away his river. And then they've been brought to this beastly hole like this. London isn't a hole, silly pants, said Polly condescendingly. But the boy was so wound up because they'd taken away his pony that he didn't notice her, and went on, and if your father was an Indian, away in India. Imagine that if he was upset because his father was an Indian. That'd be really nasty. And if you had to come and live with your freaky aunt and uncle who was mad, who would like that, and if the reason was because you were looking after your mother, and if your mother was so ill and was going to die, then his face went the wrong sort of shape, as it does when you're trying to hold back tears. Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry, Polly said humbly, as she laughed at him. And then, because she hardly knew what else to say, she turned the subject to a more cheerful subject. Is Mr. Kettledrum really mad? Well, either he's mad, or he's really gay, said Diggory. I don't know what gay is, or there's some other mystery. Gay. Here's this study on the top of the floor. Aunt Lettuce, which isn't her name. Her name is Aunt Lettuce. That's what we're calling her. Aunt Lettuce is a good name. Says I mustn't go up there to his study. Well, that looks fishy to begin with. Then there was another thing. Whenever he tries to say anything to me at meal times, he never tries to talk to her. She always shuts him up. She says, "Don't worry, boy, Andrew," or "I'm sure Diggory doesn't want to hear about that," or else, "Now, Diggory, wouldn't you like to play in the garden?" And I say, "No, you stupid bitch, there's no river at the end of that garden." What sort of things does he try to say to you? I don't know. Haven't you been listening? They took my garden and my pony, and she won't let him talk to me. He never gets far enough to talk to me. But there's one more thing. One night, it was last night in fact, as I was going past the foot of the attic stairs on my way to bed. And I don't care for that place. I'm sure I heard someone yell. Perhaps he keeps a mad wife shut up there. Yes, I thought there might have been a brother up there too. Alright, you didn't really hear that. They think there's a woman up there. Maybe there's more than one woman up there, and it's a brothel. Or perhaps he's a coiner. Oh, he might have been a pirate, like the man in the beginning of Treasure Island, and he's always been hiding from his shipmates. How exciting, said Polly. I've never known your house was so interesting. You may think it's interesting, said Diggory, but you wouldn't like it if you had to sleep there. How would you like it if you were up there listening to your uncle's footsteps creeping to your door, and all the screaming at night, and he has ugly eyes? That was how Polly and Diggory got to know one another. And it was the beginning of summer. And it was beginning of the summer holidays, and neither of them were going to sea this year. Because back in those days, they used to send their kids to sea, their type of, summer school. Well, they just used to kick their kids in the sea and be like, bye, fuck you, you can swim back home, you get to live. Their adventures began, I can't read this word, cheerfully, forget that word. Their adventures began because it was the wettest and coldest summer. Can't read. Their adventures had begun because it was one of the wettest and coldest summers there had been for years. That drove them to indoor things. You might say indoor exploitation. I can't read that word either. Explorations? Yes, maybe. It was wonderful It's wonderful how much exploring you can do with a stub of a candle in a big house. Or in a row of houses. Polly had discovered long ago that you can open a certain little door in a room of her attic house. You would find this alright, this is a bit of a annoying bit. It's a very long paragraph. It's basically just saying there's a crawl space in her attic. And this is pretty funny. It's a bit confusing though, so I'm just gonna say it. Basically, like she goes in her attic and she's found this crawl space, and there's these rafters, like beams, that you have to go across, and she basically goes round her house, like getting bits of wood and like off of doors, chairs, and it doesn't say as much, but it kind of makes it obvious that she's gone around breaking the chairs and using them on these rafters so she can climb over. And it's like she's got this idea in her head that she needs to put something in between these rafters, and Polly, being the massive bitch she is going downstairs, smashing all her chairs, and her mum's just kind of standing there like, whoa, Polly's got the crazy eye, just leave her be. Her parents are alcoholics. Which also brings us to the point, Where is it? Uh, uh, Polly had used a bit of the tunnel just beside the blah blah as as a smuggler's cave. She brought up bits of old packaging cases and seats of broken kitchen chair as things to spread across the rafters. to rafter so as to make a bit of a floor. I think that repeated it. I don't know. Here she kept a crushed boxes, certain various treasures, and a story she was writing, and usually a few apples. She's not keeping apples up there. It's I like to think she's keeping cider, and this next bit, she often drunk quite a quite quiet bottle. She often drunk a quiet bottle of ginger beer. Hint, hint. If you reference the apples again, it's actually cider. Polly is an alcoholic, and she's also a psychopath, going around breaking chairs in front of her mum. Her parents are just like, yeah, she's in the attic drinking again. Let's leave Polly to it, and let's just start drinking ourselves. Polly's got the right idea. At least she's up there where we're safe. Oh yeah. It also says the old bottles made it look more like a smuggler's cave. It is so hinting that she's not drinking ginger beer. She's just a massive alcoholic. Diggory quite liked the cave. She wouldn't let him see the story though, but he quite enjoyed the alcohol. But he was more interested in exploring, especially when drunk. "Look here," he said. "How long does the tunnel go on for? I mean, does it stop where your house ends?" "No," said Polly. "The walls don't go out to the roof." What? The walls don't go out to... Oh, I did read that right. "The walls don't go out to the roof. It goes on. I don't know how far." Hint, hint, hint. "Then we could go the length of the whole row of houses." "So we could," Polly said. "Oh, I say." "What?" "We could go into the other houses." I'm not making this up. She wants them to break into other people's houses and get more alcohol! Yay! "Yes, and be taken for burglars. No thanks." "Don't be such a jolly clever. I was thinking go into the house beyond yours." "What about it?" "Why, it's the empty one. Daddy says it's always been empty since we came here." "I suppose we ought to check it out then," Diggory said, very easily swayed by peer pressure. He was a good deal more excited than he had. Fuck, sorry. He was a great more deal excited than you would have thought by the way he spoke. Because he always kind of speaks like, that's kind of his character. For of course, he was thinking just how would it have been, of all the reasons why the house might have been empty for so long. So was Polly. Neither of them said the word haunted, and both felt that once the thing had been suggested, it would have been feeble not to do so. So basically, they're saying, if someone said the house was haunted, they would have been either maybe too chicken shit to, I don't know. This is a bit weird, written a bit oddly. I think they would have been too scared if they said it was haunted, especially Diggory, because he's a crybaby. "Shall we go and try it then?" "Now," said Diggory. "All right," said Polly. "Don't if you're afraid not to," Diggory said, kind of hinting he didn't want to. "I'm game if you are," she said. "I want the alcohol, goddammit!" "How are we to know if we're in the house next but one?" They decided they would go out into the box room and walk across and take steps as long as the steps from one rafter to the next. it would give them an idea of how many rafters went to room. Then they would allow about 4 more the passage between the 2 attics. Basically, they're going up to the rafters, and like this is another one of those weird bits where it's explaining too much of simple things, and I'm just gonna say it simply because it's stupid. Basically, they're measuring out the rafters from her rafters, so they're going across her rafters. Let's say there was 12, then they're just basically adding up like 12 more for his house, 12 more for the next house. So they can cross his house and end up in the next house. But I don't expect it's really empty at all, said Diggory. What do you expect? I expect someone lives there in secret. So he thinks there's drug addicts in the house. Only coming in at night with lanterns. He's painting a picture for us. They'll beat us to death, I tell you. We probably shall discover a gang of desperate criminals and get rewarded. It's all rot to say the house would be empty all those years unless there was some mystery. Daddy thought it must be drains. What? What? All right. I think they kind of missed a bit there where I think he must have mentioned something about noise, and she's just like, no, it's the drains. But he didn't actually say anything about noise, so she's just telling him off for saying that. Poof! Grown-ups are always thinking uninteresting expectations. Diggory really wants there to be a gang of criminals living next to him. He's just like, shut up! There's criminals there! There's no drains. There's no such thing as drains. I want the criminals to be there and beat us with their lanterns. Now that they were talking by daylight in the attic instead of the candlelight in the smuggler's cave, it seemed much less likely that the empty house would be haunted. Then when they had measured the attic, they had got a pencil and do the sums. That word should be done, but oh well. Done the sums. They both got different answers to it at first, and even when they agreed, I'm not sure they got it right. They were in a hurry to start exploring, and Diggory really wants to get beaten up by those criminals. We must not make oh no, I was saying that right. We must not make a sound, said Polly as she climbed in again behind the curtain. I think that's a curtain, a type of curtain. I can't read the word. She climbed up back to the smuggler's cave, basically, because it was an important occasion. They took a candle each. Polly had the good candle, though. He actually says that. The candle that she kept in her cave. Diggory got the shitty candle that kept going out, but she had the good candle. Diggory also had to go in front of her because, well, as he was crying with his broken candle. It was dark and dusty and draughty, and they stepped from rafter to rafter without a word, except from when they whispered to one another, "We're opposite your attic now," or "We must be halfway through our house." And neither of them stumbled, and the candles didn't go out. Well, Polly's candle didn't go out. Diggory's never lit in the first place. He's just kind of thudding around, trying to find his way around. "Can you please shine some light over here?" "Shut up! I'm the only one with the candle here. Use your broken candle." And at last they came to where they could see the little door in the brick wall on the right. There was no bolt or handle on the side of it, of course, for the door had been made for getting in and not getting out. because because apparently you can get out of locked doors, but you can't get into locked doors. What? But there was a catch, as there was often inside of cupboard doors, which they felt sure they would be able to turn. Shall we? Diggory said, crying in the dark, still thudding around, trying to find his way. I'm game if you are, said Polly, just as she had said before. Both felt it was becoming very serious, and neither of them would draw back. Diggory pushed round the catch, as with some difficulty, because he was crying. He was trying to open the catch. He was like, please don't make me open the catch. And Polly was just like, open it, bitch! The door swung open, and sudden daylight made them blink. Then, with a great shock, they saw what they were looking into. Saw what they were looking into was not a deserted attic, but a furnished room. And that's not... When I first read this, I read it as furnace. I'm like, oh god, they're in hell. No, a furnished room. Not a furnace. That would have been too hilarious. But then the next bit wouldn't be able to happen, which is very funny. But it seemed empty enough. It was dead silent. Polly curiously got the better of herself. She blew out the candle and stepped into the strange room, making no more noise than a mouse. Like, I'd like to think at this point that when she blew out the candle and stepped into a room, she locked Diggory in the attic on his own, like just shut the door and made him wait outside for like a minute while he was crying. Stop crying first, and you're not allowed to come in. Like, anyway, it was shaped, of course, like an attic, but furnished as a sitting room. Every bit of the walls was lined with shelves, and every bit of the shelves was full of books. A fire was burning in the grate. You remember that. It was a very cold, wet summer year, and in front of the fireplace, with its back towards them, was a high-backed armchair. Between the chair and Polly was filled with most of the middle of the room was a big table piled with all sorts of things, printed books, and books of the sort that you write in, and ink bottles, and pens, and sealing wax, and a microscope. But what she noticed first was a bright red bottle of wine. Yeah. Yeah, Polly would notice the bottle of wine. She grabbed it and started drinking it. There was also a wooden tray with a number of rings on it. They were in pairs, a yellow one and a green one, together, and then a little space, and then another yellow one and another green one. There were no brighter than ordinary. There were no bigger than ordinary rings, and no one could help noticing them because they were so bright. Luminous rings. They were the most beautiful, shiny things you could imagine. If Polly had been a little younger, she would have wanted to put one of them in her mouth. But she was too busy drinking her wine, so instead she was thinking about selling them for drugs. Or more wine. The room was so quiet that you noticed a ticking of a clock, and yet she now found it was not absolutely quiet either. There was a very faint humming sound. If hovers had been invented in those days, Polly would have thought it would have been the sound of one of those being worked a long way off, several rooms away and several floors below. But it was a nicer sound than that, on a more musical note. Do you like my my musical hover sound? Polly enjoys my musical sound. My musical hover sound. Only so faint that you could hardly hear it. "It's all right, there's no one in here," said Polly over her shoulders to Diggory, who was crying. She was speaking above a whisper now, and Diggory came out. She finally unlocked the cupboard door and let him out, blinking and looking extremely dirty, as indeed Polly was. But Polly judged him for being dirty. It was okay for her being dirty, because she was a bitch. "This is no good," he said. "It's not an empty house at all. We better bunk before anyone comes." What do you think of those?" Polly said, ignoring him, pointing to the colourful rings. "How much do you think they are?" "Oh, come on," said Diggory. "The sooner—" He never finished what he was about to say. At that moment, something happened. Polly ran out of wine and started hitting him. She had the crazy eye. The high-backed chair in front of the fire moved suddenly, and there rose up, like a phantom demon coming from a trap door, the alarming form of Uncle Andrew. My favourite character so far. They were not in an empty room at all. Oh, they were not in an empty house at all. They were in Diggory's house, and in the forbidden study. Both children said, "Oh!" and realized their terrible mistake. They felt they ought to have known all along that they haven't have gone nearly far enough. Uncle Andrew was a tall, very thin man. He had a long, clean-shaven face, with a sharply pointed nose and extremely bright eyes, and a great torsal mop of grey hair. He also wore a pink cape with feathery tassels. He's a very fabulous man. Diggory was quite speechless, for Uncle Andrew looked 1,000 times more alarming than he ever looked before, as he danced around in his pink cape. If you can't tell, I'm making up the pink cape. It fits his character. You'll see why. Polly was not so frightened yet. It wasn't the first time she's seen a man in a pink cape. A pink feathery cape was quite new, but pink capes are alright with Polly. But soon she was, for the very first thing Uncle Andrew did was walk across to the door of the room, shut it, and turn the key in the lock. Now this is the bit where it goes a bit wrong. Then he turned round, flipping his cape like Dracula, fixed on the children with his bright eyes, and smiled, showing all his teeth. "There," he said, "now my fool of a sister can't get at you," he sung. It was dreadful. It was dreadfully unlike any grown-up to have been expected to do so. Polly's heart came into her mouth. It was excited. and she and Diggory stared backwards towards the little door they had come through. Uncle Andrew was too quick for them. He got behind them, "Hello," and shut the door too, and stood in front of it. Then he rubbed his hands and made his knuckles crack. His fingernails painted a matching colour of pink. He had very long, beautiful white fingers. "I'm delighted to see you," he sung. Two children are just what I wanted." Oh shit. Oh no. Nope. Please, Mr. What's her voice again? Please, Mr. Kettledrum," said Polly. "It's nearly dinner time. I've got to go home. Will you please let us out?" Polly knows what's going on. She knows she's in deep shit. Not yet, said Uncle Andrew. This is too good of an opportunity to miss. I wanted 2 children. You see, I'm in the middle of a great experiment. I've tried it on guinea pigs. What's he doing to the guinea pigs? Oh shit. At this point, the kid should run. The guinea pig hint is enough of a hint. And it seemed to work, but the guinea pigs can't tell you anything, and you can't explain to them how to get back. If you don't get this, he's talking about his bumhole. The guinea pigs don't know how to leave. Oh no. This is why I tried to warn you at the beginning of this episode. This is what the book's gonna be like when they have hints like this. This is where my mind goes to. I'm not this type of person, but my mind does go there. Look here! Oh shit, no, wrong person. Look here, Uncle Andrew, said Diggory. It is really time for dinner, and they'll be looking for us at this moment. You must let us out! Free us! Must, said Uncle Andrew. Diggory and Polly glanced at each other. They dare not say anything, but their glances meant, oh shit. And we really need to fucking get out of here. If you let us out for dinner now, said Polly, we'll come back after dinner. Look, Polly knows. Polly knows she needs to come out. She needs to try and get out. And just never look back. Forget Diggory. Go for dinner. Forget about him. His uncle is his problem. Ah, but how do I know you would? Said Uncle Andrew with a cunning smile. See, he knows, bitches. Uncle Andrew, he's a queen. He knows this shit. Then he seemed to change his mind. Well, he said, if you really must go, I suppose you must. I can't expect 2 youngsters, 2 fresh youngsters like you to find much more talking to an old buffer like me. Oh, Uncle Andrew, he sighed and went on. You have no idea how lonely I am sometimes. It actually says that. But no matter, go for dinner. But I must give you a present before you go. Oh shit. It's not every day I see a little girl in my dingy old study. Oh, especially, if I may say so, such a attractive young lady as yourself. Oh shit. Oh shit. Polly began to think he might really not be mad. Oh shit, Polly, don't let him fool you. She's like, oh, he said I'm attractive. He's fine. He's not mad. No mad guy would say I was attractive. Polly, you're not helping. That's a sign to say no. He's not good. It's not good. Wouldn't you like a ring, my dear? Said Uncle Andrew to Polly. Oh no. Don't offer the bitch jewelry. She'll sell it. She'll sell it for crack. Do you mean... What? Fuck, I keep forgetting her voice. Do you mean one of those yellow or green rings? Said Polly. How lovely. Not the green one, said Uncle Andrew. Yeah, that's Uncle Andrew's voice when he's like, no, not the green one, bitch. The green one's mine. I'm a, I'm afraid I can't give you one of those green ones, you ugly slut. Green is so not your color. But I'm delighted to give you one of those yellow ones, my love. Come and try it on. Oh no, no, Polly. I know you're a bitch, but don't do it. Polly had now quite got over her fright and felt sure this old gentleman was not mad. Especially when he was dancing around in his pink cape. Yeah, that seemed quite normal to Polly. And there was certainly something strangely attractive about those bright rings. See, now this is Polly all over. She's just like, yeah, he's calling me pretty, he's giving me rings, you know, he's an alright guy. See, this is Polly. Also, she's been drinking today. She had that, who knows what was in that red wine earlier, like, she had that red wine earlier. She moved over to the tray. Why, I declare, she said, that humming noise gets louder here. Oh god, they're vibrating rings. Oh shit, I only just realized that. Oh god. Their humming noise is coming from, oh, it's almost as if it's coming from the rings. Oh no. He's giving her, I don't want to say it, but it sounds an awful lot like she's getting one of those rings, those vibrating rings. Oh no, that's her. What a funny fancy, my dear, said Uncle Andrew with a laugh. No, that isn't his laugh. His laugh should be like. It sounded like a very neutral laugh. Yeah. It's a very neutral laugh. But Diggory had seen an eager, almost greedy look to his face. Well, he is offering her a cock ring. Oh, I said it. Polly, don't be a fool. He shouted, don't touch those rings. He took my pony. He'll take your virginity. But it was too late. Oh no. But it was too late. The bitch put on the ring. Exactly as he spoke, Polly's hand went to touch one of the rings, and immediately, without a flash or a noise or any warning of any sort, there was no Polly. Diggory and his uncle were alone in the room. Hey, hey! And that is the end of chapter 1. The nephews. Oh, not the nephews. The magician's nephew. So, leave me a comment, like, and subscribe if you indeed liked it. And I hope I don't get in trouble for this. There's probably going to be a bunch of people complaining that I've ruined their favorite story, but yeah. You know what? If you had it read to you as a kid, well, I didn't. This is an adult mind reading it for the first time. Well, not an adult. A very childish adult mind reading it for the first time. So yeah, tell me if you like it. I'm probably, well, like I said, I'm going to read the second one without like reading it first. Like, I'm going to read it with you guys. Hopefully it'll come out alright. I might read it before, like, if it doesn't come out alright. Anyway, tell me if you like this. Like, I'm blabbering now. Give us a comment. And yeah, see ya.